Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses as we continue with Part 3, The Master of the Blue Cape, From the Ways of the Lonely Ones, by Manly P. Hall. A tall, slender man with dark eyes and a broad, noble forehead stood behind him, draped from head to foot in a flowing cape of indigo blue. The Master of the Blue Cape. Once there lived an alchemist who sought among the mysteries of nature and of science to find the Elixir of Life and the Philosopher's Stone. In order that his labors might be undisturbed, this alchemist severed every tie of human relationship and withdrew to a cave far up on the side of a hill. There he built a laboratory and collected a library of rare and ancient books. The laboratory he equipped with all the apparatus of the chemist, burners and flasks and many strange instruments. There for many years he labored with chemicals, herbs and simples, seeking to find the secret of eternal youth. In his own narrow yet earnest way he sought to discover that lost blessing or panacea of mankind, the balm of Gilead promised by the sacred writings of old. For over 40 years he held himself resolutely to his task of pulverizing herbs and metals, seeking from the depths of earth to the most distant corner of heaven for the answer to his problem. Many amazing and masterly discoveries were fled away in his diary. Many learned secrets he wrested from his experiments. Many surprising truths he gleaned from his studies. But the master secret of alchemy, the last crowning achievement, ever eluded him. With all his studies and his labors, he was forced to confess his inability to find the answer to the mystery of mysteries. One day as he sat, dejected and disconsolate in his laboratory, there flashed across his mind an entirely new thought. Could it be that he was not searching where the light was? Could it be that these ancient writers, these honored scientists, had themselves failed, and that only a blind alley was disclosed to those who studied their works? It was a thought which almost overwhelmed him. He sat dazed in his chair. His head fell upon his arms, which rested on the table, and he gave way to a long, pent-up sorrow. At any rate, I have failed, he mused. Either those who wrote knew not the secret, or else I have not read aright the meaning of their words. The things I seek I cannot find. The truth that I would know eludes me like a will-o'-the-wisp. The power of those masters in whose footsteps I would tread and whose truths I would perpetuate has not been revealed to me either by the words of my brothers or by my own researches. Then another thought dawned upon his soul. He laid aside his books, closed the numberless closets filled with vials and retorts, and sitting down again in his great chair, bowed his head in prayer, and asked like a child the way that he should tread. He called upon the names of the great ones who had gone before. He asked that the mystic alchemists of old should guide his footsteps, that he might learn the truths that would serve his brother man. Suddenly, as he sat there, a voice spoke to him. "Brother, what seek you?" The old alchemist started in amazement and turned in his chair, for he knew of no one who could have guessed the secret of that hidden cave, or who could have entered so silently that his reveries had not been disturbed. A tall, slender man with dark eyes and broad, noble forehead stood behind him, draped from head to foot in a flowing cape of indigo blue. The stranger parted the cloak, and his long, slim hands drew back its folds. "Who are you?" demanded the alchemist in surprise. "Who comes thus to break my solitude?" "I am that I am," answered the stranger. "Know you not that words mean nothing, that names are but terms for forms? But what I am and what I mean to you is all important. You now call me the brother of the Blue Cape. You do not know me, but I know you. For many years you have labored in this cave, seeking the true answer to the riddle of life and the solution of the mystery of being. Many times I aided you, but you could not know this, for until you called me I could not come. You have sought in all the world of natural things, with book and chemical, with telescope, crucible and retort. Though you have studied long, you have not learned the mysteries of the alchemists. You have sought to glean from the sages their sacred truths. But you have failed in all your attempts, for while you have learned many things, you know no more of the deeper secrets than when you started. There are those in the world, however, in whose souls the alchemist lives eternal, and who carry within the locket of their own hearts the secret of the lost panacea, in whose innermost being still flows the elixir of life, and who know the secret of the furnace in which the philosopher's stone is made. Lay aside your books and your alembics for a moment and learn of the path which leads to the light. The old alchemist leaned back in his chair, his eyes fixed on the face of the intruder. The brother of the blue cape approached and sitting down beside him spoke in soft musical tones which comforted the heart of the lonely seeker and illuminated him with the light he had looked for so long. "Know you, brother," said the mystic, "that all the secrets of alchemy are concealed within the folds of this cape of blue. It is not merely a stone that you seek or a liquid to fill your vials, but the true quest of the alchemist is for the indigo cape. In the universe about us, behold how the Father enfolds within the blue cape of heaven all his children. Behold how the masters gather, under the folds of their garments and under the protection of their cloaks, the hearts of men. Know you that alchemy is that process in man which shapes this cape, and only those who wear this mystic raiment may claim to know the formula of alchemy. All the powers of the universe wear these made of all the tones in life. These hues are called compassion, purity, and service. Beneath the cape, which is called compassion, the servants of the Father gather his wayward children. They labor in the Father's name, for the blue of the sky is but a vast cloak which he winds lovingly around creation. It is this cloak which each must weave as a living vesture that brings with its completion the realization of truth. All the masters wear capes. Their very lives are cloaks, for their hearts are so great that they seek to enfold all living things within the glory of their love. These capes are the garments of protection. They are indeed the cloaks of wisdom, more precious than any earthly garment. But these capes are broad. They have many folds. Those who seek the truth must learn that the stone of the philosopher is always concealed somewhere within the blue cloak of initiation. Each truth that is woven into the living garment of the soul brings with it a great advancement, a more complete revelation of spiritual consciousness. These cloaks are woven of the light of truth, of knowledge, and of power. There are thousands laboring with mankind who are not of mankind, but who, like the spirits of Venus and of Jupiter, are bound to the earth by the needs of its children. There are many active here who long for freedom to do greater things. Noble souls from worlds unknown are chained to earth by the ignorance of man. The eldest of the brothers are forced eternally to perform the labors that man should do. The masters must forsake their cosmic tasks to adjust the difficulties of the ignorant. They must gather the wayward souls under the protective folds of their vast mantles. Each time a soul is found in the world of men who will take upon itself the sorrows of the world, who will labor that others may have more light, who will learn the things worthwhile and thereby become strong enough to carry the burdens of humanity. When such a one is found, the master takes off his own mantle and places it upon the shoulders of this disciple. The master is then free to advance to greater works, to don a more ample and more burdensome garment. In the days to come, the children of earth must bear the responsibilities beneath which now the gods are bowed. The powers of light are searching for those who will wear their garments, for those whose souls, like capes of blue, are wide-spreading enough to gather earth's weaker ones under their folds. The old alchemist's eyes were closed, and he heard the words as in a dream. But suddenly a great flood of light descended into his being. He saw the things so long hidden, the truth so long concealed, streamed into his aspiring soul. "I have found it," he cried. "I have found the philosopher's stone. I see its light radiating from the depths of my own soul. I have found the elixir of life as it pours upon me from the rivers of living water. I feel the balm of Gilead as drop by drop it falls from my wounded heart. I see, I see." "You have seen well," answered the mystic as he sat enfolded in his mantle. "For know that out of your own being flows the lost panacea for the world's woe. The kindly action, the soft touch, the smile in the moments of sorrow. These make up the elixir of life to your brother man. The philosopher's stone shines in resplendent glory from the one who lived the life and learned to know the doctrine, while the balm of Gilead is in truth the loving word in the moment of sorrow, the selfless compassion in the hour of need. Your quest is over, brother. You have found those things for which you sought. Your years of labor have their reward. Your diligence has not been in vain. Now, what will you do with it? How will you use the precious secrets which have been disclosed to you?" The old alchemist rose to his feet, his eyes alight with a strange glow which revealed the glory of the light within. His tottering footsteps grew stronger. as though indeed he had found the fountain of eternal youth. His shaking hands grew steadier, while he straightened himself and pointed toward the villages outside the cave. "I am going back again," he cried. "All these years I've hidden myself away in this cave under the hill. But now I see that my place is in the world. I'm going back to tell all the truths that you have unveiled to me. I will go out to live the Philosopher's Stone. Of the Elixir of Life and the Balm of Gilead I will give to all mankind, rich and poor, young and old, of whatever caste or creed. They shall see the light that I have found. They shall also know how I have found it. The gods have been gracious and have given me the treasures I sought, and now I dedicate them to the service of men." The stranger in the blue cape smiled and, taking the old man by the shoulder, led him back to the chair, saying, "Sit down and rest. You have found the object of your quest, and your soul is filled with great compassion. You shall indeed serve your brother men to the glory of your God and the liberation of the masters." Slowly the old man's head sank upon his breast. His heart, beating fast with the glory of his great discovery, was quieted by the hand of the master. The mystic stood over him while the old alchemist slept as peacefully as a child. "Rest, brother," whispered the mystic, "for your quest has been long and the search intense. Rest, for before you are labors eternal. You are now coming to the day when for you rest shall be no more. Sleep, for the eyes now closed will be open for ages. Be happy now, for before you on distant Calvary rises the shadow of a cross." The mystic sank on his knees and, clasping his hands, raised his eyes to heaven, praying, "Father, I thank thee that another has found the light, that a soul wandering has taken the path which leads to liberation. I thank thee that I have been freed for a greater task. I thank thee, Father, that this soul has found this day the thing it sought. And, O God eternal, help me in my endless search for the keys to the mysteries. In the name of thy blessed Son, Amen." The master rose and, taking off his indigo mantle, laid it over the shoulders of the sleeping alchemist. "Here, brother, is the garment that I have worn. But a short time ago I gathered you in its folds. Now I give it to you with all its joys, with all its sorrows. Under its folds gather you the souls of men, in the name of the Great One whose blue cape envelops creation." The mystic then walked slowly from the cave, his face calm with peace and divine compassion. He raised his eyes once more to the light shining from the heavens. "Father, I am ready for thy greater work." From somewhere 2 hands reached down and there fell upon the mystic's shoulder a great cloak of blue, far more voluminous, far more cumbersome than the other. Under the weight of its massive folds he staggered as the Christ staggered under the weight of his cross. But with a strength divine he rose, and spreading wide the folds which seemed to carry within them the whole creation, he cried out with a joyous voice to the world in pain, "Come unto me, all ye who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." With this great cape protecting and concealing thousands of living creatures, the mystic floated silently over the world, gathering under the folds of his garment the souls of men. The alchemist had taken the lesser task and freed the master for a greater. When the alchemist awoke, he could discern no garment of blue, but his soul, awakened by its vision, had become invested with the indigo cape of compassion, which forever enfolds the sorrows of the world. Heeding not the rough stones, he fell on his knee amidst the garment, reverently kissed it. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Roses. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.